Run, little rabbit, hit the road, little rabbit. Shotgun, little rabbit. A bang, 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 bang. Find a log, little rabbit. I got my dog, little rabbit. You're in the fog, little rabbit. You made Dodge and Susie Q.
All right, everybody. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me this beautiful, beautiful Sunday, November. I don't even know what day it is. 24th, 2024, right here in your outpost on the West Coast. Your rainy outpost on the West Coast. But anyways, I haven't done a video in a while, and we'll talk about that in a little bit here. She's beautiful. What we have here, thank you for the new subscribers. Thank you for every single one of you guys and ladies that hit the like button. Just complete strangers who maybe appreciate what I'm posting here on YouTube. This is a full restoration of a model that was pretty banged up when she came in. She's about 90 years old, guys, maybe a little older. A very small handful of these were produced back in 1934, and this one wound up in my shop here on the West Coast. These were produced back in New York, like I said, around 1934, by Ed Alexander and his workshop and his crew. It was sold as kits or built up, or partially built up, I assume. But not too many were made, from what I gather, not even 20. It was less than 20. And this one here was pretty banged up. So if you go back to the beginning of this series, you'll see, let's stop the music right here. You'll see how far she's come along. And it's been a blast working on her. It's been a learning experience. The way they used to build these things back in 1934 is different than the way they build them now. And so it's been a learning curve for me and all of us. I've been glad to share that with you guys, ladies and guys. And every single one of you guys that has subscribed and has hit that like button has just pushed me along further in terms of enthusiasm and stuff. And let's take a look. So we got her painted. We got her rewired. She's ready to run. I haven't installed the motor in there yet because we're going to be doing some painting and stuff. But pretty much everything has been worked out. Let's see here. The paint scheme. Now the owner, I'm sure, has got different ideas of how he wants her painted. And one of his favorite, it was a very interesting paint scheme, and I'll share that with you guys here today. That's the purpose of this whole video. And I told him, you know what? I told him, John, I don't think I can do it. I don't even think the decals are available. And without the decals, pretty much you can't paint something the way you envision in your eyes. I mean, painted and lettered and stuff for your favorite railroad. If the decals aren't available, it just becomes a very, very hard endeavor to follow. So you got to have your backup paint schemes, what you have in mind. We lucked out. So let's go straight to, let me bring it up on the computer first. So, okay. So this is probably one of the main paint schemes that the owner of this particular model wanted his locomotive painted. Like, now it's a real nice paint scheme, eye-catching, and definitely represents something from many, many years ago. And to see this running on a layout again would be fantastic. But it does pose a lot of problems for me anyways, and I've been painting all my life, and that is, are the decals available to do this paint scheme? Now I'll show you a picture of the tender right now. The tender is just as complicated. Now you say complicated, what are you talking about? Looks pretty easy to me. Well, at first it does, and it did with me also, but it is not your everyday of the mill paint scheme. And where we're going to run into difficulties is in these circular patterns around the wheels. There's 3 rings of gold circular pattern for each wheel. Also, you got a ring painted around each driver. Now each spoke also has a stripe. Now we lucked out. We did find the decals for this, and I'll share that with you guys right now. That's the main purpose of this whole video today. So, but even with the decals, and it's a complicated set of decals, I'm going to share that with you. It's probably the most complicated set of decals in O scale that I've ever seen anyways, and I can't think of any other that would be more complicated. I've painted Santa Fe war bonnets. I've painted the daylight paint scheme. I've done daylight paint schemes for an entire passenger train, all the passenger cars and stuff. But this one here is difficult, not because it's complicated, but if you don't get these rings perfectly centered and then centered to each other, and that applies to the trucks too, these circular rings on the outside, then as she runs all the track, you're always going to see some sort of up and down where you're going to be able to tell right away, oh, that wheel's painted off. Hard to do once the locomotive is assembled, like our particular model here. And as complicated as the decal sheets that I found for this particular model are, they did not include the decals for these outer rings here, which to me was a big bummer. Now I did get the decals to do everything else. That's no problem. And the tender is just as complicated, but the tender doesn't have these rings we have to worry about. And the problem with these rings out here is they're very, very, very visible, which I'm assuming that was the whole purpose of this paint scheme way back in the day. So this is going to be a video where I literally do this. If I didn't videotape this, I'd be doing this anyway. I'm going to bring out the decals. We're going to be doing measurements, looking at it. And this is how we figure what works and what doesn't work, at least the way I do it. And I do talk out loud to myself when I do this, like a lot of you guys do. And all right, let's put everything away. Let's get out of your view of the camera. But that is a pretty paint scheme. And I think we got some more too. Let me see what else we got here. That's the same one. And the tender, and that's the tender. She's a beauty, but the tender on our model, the sides of the tender are totally different than what you see on the screen there. But we can do it with the decals, or what the decals did provide. We're just going to have to take a little bit of free artistic license in certain little areas. But this particular part right here we can do. So let me clear the bench. We're going to bring out those decals and share them with you. Okay. Let's put aside our Ed Alexander. Oh, and real quick, Mr. Noller, I think he sent a comment about he's missing one of these trucks here. Now, I guess you can apply any truck of this wheel configuration to your models. It doesn't have to be exact copy of this one here, but this one here is a built-up truck, and it's pretty basic construction. As you can see, there's just long pieces of bar stock, a sheet on top. It's a thick sheet, and maybe some very basic detail items on the side. Your bar stock should have the holes drilled out so you can apply your wheels right through there. But I'll show you shots of it. Should be easy to build up if you wanted to build one up. I would probably build one up out of styrene first to see what I have to do, and then go ahead and attack it with brass pieces. And everything is soldered together. And like I said, you have holes on each side. So you pop off a wheel, you drive the axle in through those holes, and you connect the wheel on the other side on both axles. It's very, very basic, though it might look complicated, and should be an easy deal. You could probably apply any 4-axle pony truck from any manufacturer, All Nation, Babbitt, Overland, anything like that to if you're missing the one on yours. Or you could probably build one and have a lot of fun just building it. I guess you probably want to locate the wheels first. These look like standard 33-inch wheels. Could probably use Northwest Shoreline. They do make the flush end wheel sets. Or you can get Northwest Shoreline 33-inch wheels like freight car wheels and just ground off the needle ends, which I've done that in the past too. I think I did that with my Santa Fe Northern actually. Okay, so let's get back to the decals. Well, let me just give you an idea of the tender. Now I was thinking we could omit, and this will be up to the owner, and I've got a feeling we'll be talking with him here pretty soon. Now in this particular picture here, it almost looks like the rings around the big drivers have been omitted, but you still see the rings around the trucks, the wheel sets for the trucks. So especially now that the model has been put together, I don't believe I have the capacity to put those rings straight in terms of matching each one, so when they run down the track they stay level and straight without, you know how like if you get a wheel and you drill that hole a little bit crooked and the one next to it you drilled right spot on, but as they go down the track, you know, the one that was a little bit crooked, it's always going to look like it's jumping. That's what I'm trying to avoid, and unless I'm sure I could pull it off, I won't do it, because it will be very noticeable if you don't. Now there's a lot of painters out there and stuff that could probably pull it off. I don't think I can, and I was hoping the decals could help us out, but they kind of did not. But let's get back to have some music playing in the background. Let's put all right. So let's play some music here. Okay, so I went on Microscale's website and I did find the decals. I ordered them, they sent them down. This decal set that Microscale sent me, this is the most complicated decal set I've ever seen in my entire time in O-Scale. This is a 3-sheet decal set. 3 sheets. Yeah, we're all used to 2 sheets. So let me open it up and show you what we got here. See here. So I already opened them up because obviously I was studying them, but let's take a look at what we got here. As always, the quality for microscale is just phenomenally excellent, and no doubt about it, in this decal sheet set, same thing happened here. I was hoping they would give me the paint scheme of what the owner's looking for in their drawings. This is what I was anticipating with bated breath, but no, they did not include that particular locomotive, which is number 1223. So we got our stripes, so that should cover the tender anyways, what we're trying to do with our tender. Beautiful stripes. We got our different size Pennsylvania lettering for the tender. We have these boxes here, which I'll show you what that's for right now, and these numbers. These numbers go inside those boxes there. And on the third sheet, we have different type of box. And even different type of Pennsylvania. This one says Pennsylvania lines, but we maybe have to use this more, not as long Pennsylvania lettering for our tender, because our tender is not that big. These stripes, most of these fancy curves here and stuff, this will apply for your tender. Because the tender is also it's got some very complicated curves and stuff to it. So I was hoping we could use these circles here for at least some of our rings on our wheel sets. And I think we may be able to do that. So at least we could come up with one ring of circle for our front pony truck. Let's see here. So as I see these in the light, I see that these particular boxes here have two stripes. There's an inner, let me get a better pointer here. Guys, sorry about that. There's an inner white stripe that you can barely see there. And then the gold stripe just on the outside of it. And you can see it more noticeably right here. See that? Now, on these sets here, this box has the same thing. The gold stripe is thicker in the middle, but you have a white stripe on the inside and a white stripe on the outside. These are very, very, very complicated decals. That's why I was telling you, this is the most complicated and the largest decal set I've ever seen in my life. Produced very well, produced by Microscale. It's just, wow, I didn't even notice those white stripes within each one of these boxes. But where those boxes would go, guys, would be do it upside down. So that box would go right here under the cab, and then you put the numbers inside the middle, 1223. Also, another thing we would have to do to our actually locomotive is we'd have to mask off the front of the smoke box here and paint this all a graphite gray, some sort of graphite gray or linseed. It was linseed mixed with different railroads use different techniques. We would match the gray that's appropriate for the Pennsylvania Railroad or the Pennsy. Also, the cab roof would get a coating of oxide red because the Pennsy,
As you may have heard, this year there are four.
The Pennsy tended to paint the top of their cabs in an oxide red. Many railroads did, and the Pennsy was one of the main ones. Also, we'd have to mask that off at an angle because according to the pictures, let me show you the computer screen. According to the pictures we have, it's masked off at an angle. Not that it's masked off, but rather its rain drip rail is put more higher up. Usually it's down here, like on our model and pretty much every other railroad. And the Pennsy had it up a lot higher, at least on this particular model, and it's kind of like at an angle. So we'd have to kind of do a little bit of rearranging there, which is no big deal. But once again, in this particular photo, guys, you can see that box that we're talking about and the numbers in the middle. And there's a little bit of the more ornate decorative striping on that decal. I'm sorry, on that tender that I'm noticing. Also, what I'm noticing in pictures as I look more into the real locomotive, number 1223, that's pictured here, is that every picture and as the years went along, the striping tended to change and the coloring and stuff. Here's a good picture. Basically, this tender is just a square. The sides are just a square. But on our model, it's not a square. On our model, we have this hump. So what I would do here, if we're going to go ahead and do this, is I would just put the decals, the striping, to make it look like a square. Just ignore this dark part here and put in our Pennsylvania logo. And attempt to do those side decals on the curves here, which would be that one right there. That should be no problem. The only place where I don't think I could pull it off, once again, is the wheels. I just got to be honest. I think the modder that could pull that off, I'm just going to go ahead and say is going to be a very, very talented and gifted modeler, and my respect to that person, him or her, who can do that. I don't think I can pull it off. I'll now talk to the owner how we're going to proceed on this particular guy here. But take a look at those decals, man. They are just exquisite. Exquisite. Now, I haven't done any modeling here in a few weeks, and my modeling through the winter is going to be spotty. I took that trip up to Albuquerque here a couple weeks ago. I put some of it here on YouTube. So just so you guys know, enjoy your loved ones, enjoy your family, enjoy those close to you. So my family pretty much almost went through a horrible family tragedy here, and that's the reason I had to go to Albuquerque. And we're still working on that, and God has been great. And my mind is nowhere near hobby time right now. It's just there's a lot of thinking and praying and holy cow, if my videos aren't coming out like they used to, there's a reason behind it. We'll get squared away again, we'll get fired up, and once this thing is decaled and she's all assembled and ready to go, of course I'm going to be into it again. But life's priorities kind of got in the way here, and it's business that, yeah, I am gonna have to do. I will do whatever I have to do to take care of family matters, and I'm very, very appreciative, and just beautiful decals, and this is therapeutic. Talking to you guys is therapeutic. Uh, so there we are. So I don't want to take up too much of your time anymore. And Mr. Noller, if you're interested, contact me, and maybe I can send you a styring one of these. And if you want to build one out of brass, or you'd like for me to build one out of brass for you, just let me know. Just getting the wheel sets is going to be a little bit of a challenge. I may or may not have some here, but just let me know. But nothing is difficult in this hobby. But like I said, hug your family, enjoy your family. Uh, and remember, this is just our hobby where we have our friends and we enjoy the fruits of our labor and stuff. But your family and your loved ones are always going to be priority. So let's end it right here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me this beautiful Sunday afternoon.
Sweating in the sun. Felt like a million.
Your outpost on the West Coast.
Felt like number one. The height of summer. I'd never felt that strong. Like a rock. I was 18. Didn't have a care. Working for peanuts. Not a dime to spare. I was leaning, solid everywhere, like a rock. My hands were steady, my eyes were clear and bright. My walk had purpose, my steps were quick and light. And I held firm to what I felt was right, like a rock. Strong as I could be, like a rock. Nothing ever got to me, like a rock. I was something to see, like a rock. And I stood arrow straight, unencumbered by the weight of all these hustlers and their schemes. I stood proud, I stood tall, high above it all. I still believed in my dreams. "20 years now, where'd they go? 20 years, I don't know. sit and I wonder sometimes where they've gone. And sometimes late at night, oh, when I'm bathed in the firelight, the moon comes calling a ghostly white, and I recall like a